Now, the 21-day countrywide ban on the movement of cattle has been lifted. The ban was instituted to contain the spread of foot and mouth disease. However, there are still active cases that require monitoring. In a statement, the Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Thoko, Didiza, said her department would continue to monitor areas that have active infections and roll out vaccines. The announcement has been welcomed by all cloven-hoofed animal farmers.
F&B agriculture economists say although the ban on cattle movement has been lifted, the risk remains due to uncertainty over the foot and mouth disease outbreak. This follows government's decision to lift the 21-day ban on the movement of cattle. Good news is that a strong rebound in supplies is expected as slaughter activity returns to normal, a sentiment shared among many red meat producers. The 3-week-long ban did not have much impact on production and pricing.
In South Africa, we have a very large feedlot industry and it's very well developed. And about 90% of all slaughterings comes from a feedlot. Now, winter calves goes in and 4 months later it comes out. And that had a cushion effect. And the good news is if we look back now, there was no real change in terms of the producer price as well as the consumer price. So that's good news for the consumer.
With the current rise in cost of living, red meat has become a luxury food item for many households. However, red meat producers maintain that their pricing is 40% below global average. The Red Meat Producers Organization also hopes to increase its export market share next year.
We've got good, big dreams. We've got a Vision 2030 where we want to export 20% of local production, and we want to do it very inclusively. 1.2 million households in South Africa owns livestock. We want the emerging guy to get into the value chain, and we want to export, especially to China.
The ban also affected the wool industry. This industry says the export ban triggered by the disease resulted in losses of over 700 million rand in storage and other costs. The wool industry produces approximately 45 million kilograms of wool per year, mainly for export to China. And according to the Wool Growers Association, over 90% of their product is sold abroad. Nothando Makutulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Corine Steyn is Manager Liaison at Red Meat Producers Organization. She joins us now for a reaction on this. Is this good news for the industry?
Oh, yes. I think there is mixed feelings about the lifting of the ban. As you know, the 20-day ban was for the whole country. And when the minister lifted the ban, it actually meant that trade could go on. But within the certain areas of the outbreak or the disease management areas in the Limpopo, KZN, as well as in the Free State, there is mixed feelings, as I said, because animals can be offered for slaughter, but then it is only under very strict conditions and within special permits issued to the farmers itself. So yes, within the DMAs, there is still farmers that is affected severely, and the farmers outside of the disease management areas, they can actually, again, under very strict guidelines and conditions, go on with trade regarding auctions, movement of animals from farm to farm, or animals from farm to auctions. So yeah, as I said, this is actually with mixed feelings. The farmers within the DMAs still suffer severely under the current situation.
So when the ban came into effect, there were those who were complaining that the ban should have been enforced earlier because there were already warnings or complaints about cases, and there were those who equally complained that they were not consulted. Share with us these divergent point of views and how the minister should have been expected to act in light of this.
The Red Meat Producers Organization, in collaboration with the National Animal Health Forum, we engage with constructive negotiation and liaison with the Department of Agriculture as well as the DG and the Minister since the first outbreak in November 2019. As from that time, we encouraged farmers that it is very, very important to not move animals. And if you buy in animals or other animals onto your farm, that animals should be kept in quarantine for at least a period of 28 days before you introduce them to the rest of the herd. So this is not a new thing that we have done. We have engaged with government since 2019. And this is on the one side. On the other side, we also tried to inform our members to take proactive steps in preventing the spread of the disease. Now, everybody knows that the first outbreak outside of the endemic area of the Limpopo province was at auctions in the Northwest province. The Northwest province and the Gauteng province, they actually were very quick in containing that specific spread. But unfortunately, the spread now escalated to the Free State, and as the report stated by the Department of Agriculture on the 5th of September, indicated that this virus is still spreading, and that is why the minister actually introduced a disease management area for the Free State as well. And that is really to curb the spread of the virus. As I said, there's very mixed feelings between farmers that ask, but the ban should have been introduced sooner. And then there is farmers that is very upset at the moment. And we as the Red Meat Producers Organization, we can actually sympathize with that farmers because it influenced their livelihood. The farmers from the past few years not only had to cope with severe droughts, there was floods, there was severe veld fires, then there was COVID, and with the first outbreak, the auctions were closed down. And now this. So we really sympathize with the farmers, not only the commercial farmers, but also the emergent farmers that is absolutely dependent on the trade of these animals to just better their cash flow at the moment.
Has there been any reports of the illegal movement of animals during this period, and animals that were allowed to travel within this atmosphere of fear that the disease might spread? Have there been reports of them being immediately introduced to the main herd upon arrival?
Well, we must commend the Department of Agriculture here, and especially the veterinary services. Since the first outbreak in Limpopo in 2019 already, veterinary services and the National Director of Animal Diseases, they actually went full out. Yes, we acknowledge that there is certain capacity problems within government itself, but that is where the industry then went to the minister and said to the minister, how can we help you? And the first discussions we had was actually to try and to help the department with their work. The National Red Meat Producers, for instance, allocated funds for vaccine or the needles as well as the tubes, and we supported the department with that as well. So I think with the capacity constraints that the department do have in terms of veterinary services, they actually did a very good job to curb this outbreak, not to go further into other provinces as well, and just to contain them at the present in mainly in the Free State, in the KZN and in Limpopo province. So we as the RPO, we really work together with government, and we really try to give them the necessary support and just to curb this spreading of the virus, because not only the primary producer livelihood is at stake, but it influences the whole red value chains of South Africa, and for that matter, the whole red meat industry.